16 years and 4 months before being stabbed while acting on the set of a vampire movie, Terrence, 28, was reluctantly attending his 10-year high school reunion. He had told Melanie, 27, over and over and over again that he had absolutely no desire to do this. But she had insisted, and he had finally given in. The reunion was being held in early summer, which was the time of year when they would usually come back to Indiana so that Holly, 4, could spend some time with her grandparents, meaning that he had no real excuse not to come. Hi, I'm Neil A. Yeager, and today I'm reading from my novel, Non-Hollywood. If you've come with me this far on this little audiobook journey, thanks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Subscribing helps these videos reach more people in the search results. And again, thank you. This is chapter 42, Dreaded High School Reunion. So, Terrence had acquiesced, but he wasn't happy about it. And now that he was here at the reunion, it was turning out to be even more miserable than he thought it would be. Unlike most of the people there, he had no good, solid answer for the question, what do you do for a living? The only person he felt that he was doing better than was Todd, who had just gotten out of prison after serving a few years for dealing a whole lot of marijuana. From the outside, it basically looked like Terrence was an overgrown teenager, playing pretend, working an occasional part-time job, but basically mooching off of his wife. How could he explain to these people exactly what it was that he was trying to accomplish and exactly why it was taking so damn long? At present, he was talking with Scott, who, from the 4th grade right up until graduation, had been Sean's best friend. And even with someone who he had once felt so close to, there was a distance. Well, when I joined the practice, I knew that Dad wanted to start thinking about retiring. I just didn't know he wanted to do it so soon, said Scott. He's been working 6 days a week as long as I can remember. I just assumed that he liked it. But he said no. He wants to turn it all over to me so that he and Mom can travel. Terrence, feigning interest, said, So that's what your 6-year plan is all about? Yes, the idea is that each year Dad works 1 fewer days a week. He doesn't take on any new patients, and his slow retirement gives his older patients a chance to get to know me and, get used to the idea that Dad's not going to be their doctor much longer. We're on our 3rd year now, so he's only in the office 3 days a week. Your dad's not that old, is he? No. In fact, we've timed this so that he'll retire on his 55th birthday. Wow. Yeah, he and Mom want to see the world, so they figured the best thing would be to go for an early retirement. Travel before they get too old to do it. Terrence continued feigning. Well, that's great for them. And great for you. You got your own practice before you're 30. And you're here in your hometown. That's great. It works out for everybody. Though I've got to say, I never expected to be back here. That I always expected to move a big city like you did. LA or San Francisco. Something like that. I'm pretty jealous. Oh, it's not that big a deal, said Terrence. I think it's pretty neat. You wanted to go and you went. And here I am, back in the town where I grew up. But it's good. Yeah, good for you, Scott. Sounds like it's all working out for you. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Of course, I'm sure my life's not as exciting as yours, in LA and all. I've always wanted to go to the Sunset Strip. Do you guys party there, all the time? No, I've been to the Strip many times, of course, but no, these days I'm mostly staying at home with Holly and going to acting classes and trying to get something going, not a lot of partying. Well, that's good, family life is good. Yes, it is. I like having a family, said Terrence. And you're still in really great shape, said Scott. Most everybody here's put on at least a little weight, but you still look cut. What's your secret? There's no real secret there, Scott. I work out 6 days a week and I try to not eat junk food very often. You have to stay in shape if you want to be an actor. Well, it works. Well, thanks. And there, the conversation just sort of ended. Though the two had once known each other very well, these days they had really nothing much to talk about. A few awkward moments later, Terrence said, "Oh, hey, I need to go check on Melanie. I saw her over by the door there." Oh, yeah, sure. It's good to see you. Yeah, good to see you too. But Terrence did not go find Melanie. He didn't even attempt to go find Melanie. Instead, he went out the door and found a good spot where he could light up a cigarette. When Melanie located him a good while later, he was still in that same spot. "Are you smoking again, babe?" she asked as she approached him. "Yeah, sorry. It's either that or I beat myself to death with a baseball bat." "Oh, it's not that bad, is it?" "Yes, Mel, it is exactly that bad. That bad is exactly the right term for it. I'm talking to Scott, who wanted to be a professional motocross racer, but now he's taken over his boring-ass father's boring-ass medical office. Teresa is an insurance agent with 5 kids. Our cross-country champ Darren has to weigh at least 300 pounds. I mean, who are these people? I know it's only been 10 years, but I don't know any of them. They're all strangers." "Well, people go different paths." "Yeah, no kidding there. And apparently my path is somehow pathetic. I tried to explain to a couple of them the whole process of going to classes and going to auditions and doing the occasional student film, but, nothing. There's just nothing there. They don't get it. They just know that they've never seen me in a Steven Spielberg movie, so they don't get it." "So they don't get it," said Melanie. "What's the big deal?" Terrence took a long drag of his cigarette, sighed, and said, "Well, they all think I'm a bum." "No, they don't." "Yes, they do. I can see it in their eyes. And worst of all, I feel like a bum. I mean, hell, maybe they're right. I've been at this for almost 5 years now, and I'm getting nowhere. The best I've done is 2 embarrassingly bad student films and a couple of things that basically amounted to background extra work. I already feel like a loser most days, and tonight is just pounding it home." "Terrence," began Melanie, "you are pursuing your dreams. Not many people have the guts to do that. Some things haven't gone the way you want. So what? You've got a beautiful little girl and a wife who is fully behind you. What else do you need?" "Fully? Are you sure about that, Mel? Fully?" Melanie put her arm around him and said, "Your wife is fully behind you. Though, if we're being honest, she is getting really tired of giving you pep talks. She's not going to be able to do that much longer." Terrence smiled. He put out his cigarette, took her by the hand, and headed back toward the reunion.